In the fierce predatory war carried on between the Pawnees and Sioux, acts of blood and retaliation, exercised on their prisoners, are of frequent occurrence. In the month of February 1838, the Pawnees captured a Sioux girl only 14 years of age. They carried her to their camp on the west of the Missouri and deliberated what should be done with her. It is not customary to put female captives to death, but to make slaves of them. She, however, was doomed to a harder fate, but it was carefully concealed from her for the space of some 60 or 70 days. During all this time she was treated well and had comfortable lodgings and food, the same as the rest enjoyed. On the 22nd of April, the chiefs held a general council, and when it broke up, it was announced that her doom was fixed, but this was still carefully concealed from her. This doom was an extraordinary one, and so far as the object can be deduced from the circumstances and ceremonies, the national hatred to their enemies was indulged by making the innocent non-combatant a sacrifice to the spirit of corn, or perhaps of vegetable fecundity. When the deliberations of the council were terminated, on that day, she was brought out, attended by the whole council, and accompanied on a visit from lodge to lodge, until she had gone round the whole circle. When this round was finished, they placed in her hands a small billet of wood and some paints. The warriors and chiefs then seated themselves in a circle. To the first person of distinction, she then handed this billet of wood and paint. He contributed to this offering or sort of sacrificial charity. Some wood and paint, then handed it to the next, who did likewise, and he passed it to the next until it had gone the entire rounds, and each one had contributed some wood and some paint. She was then conducted to the place of execution. For this purpose, they had chosen an open, grassy glade near a cornfield where there were a few trees. The spot selected was between two of these trees, standing about 5 feet apart, in the center of which a small fire was kindled. With the wood thus ceremoniously contributed, 3 bars had been tied across from tree to tree above this fire at such a graded height that the points of the blaze, when at its maximum, might just reach to her feet. Upon this scaffold she was compelled to mount, when a warrior at each side of her held fire under her armpits. When this had been continued as long as they supposed she could endure the torture, without extinguishing life, at a given signal, a band of armed bowmen let fly their darts, and her body, at almost the same instant, was pierced with 1,000 arrows. These were immediately withdrawn, and her flesh then cut with knives, from her thighs, arms, and body, in pieces not longer than $50, and put into little baskets. All this was done before life was quite extinct. The field of newly planted corn reached near to this spot. This corn had been dropped in the hill, but not covered with earth. The principal chief then took of the flesh, and going to a hill of corn, squeezed a drop of blood upon the grains. This was done by each one, until all the grains put into the ground had received this extraordinary kind of sprinkling. This horrible cruelty took place in the vicinity of Council Bluffs. Offers to redeem the life of the prisoner had been made by the traders, in a full council of 80 chiefs and warriors, but they were rejected. Henry Rowe Schoolcraft, 1851.